In a world where emotional demands often overshadow our own needs, how do we safeguard our inner peace? This book is not just another guide to communication. It is a crucial exploration of the intricate dance between empathy and self-preservation. Here, we will unravel the complexities of mental health dynamics, illuminating the subtle tactics that can drain your energy and compromise your emotional strength. Prepare to confront the uncomfortable truths that reside within ourselves and our interactions as we navigate the path toward setting boundaries that foster both compassion and resilience. Energy Protectors. Why Boundaries Are Key to Emotional Balance, written and published by Tangled Minds. Chapter 1. Recognizing Emotional Drain. Why it happens. Imagine a vibrant gathering where laughter reverberates and joy fills the air. Amid this seemingly idyllic scene, one person stands apart, their laughter feigned, eyes distant, and emotions hidden. With every conversation, they drain the energy from those around them, leaving behind a palpable heaviness that can be felt long after they depart. This scenario captures the essence of psychological interactions that often go unnoticed until we feel the repercussions. Many individuals struggling with mental health issues unwittingly become conduits of emotional drain, channeling their unresolved pain and turmoil into their relationships. They may seek solace and understanding, yet often end up creating an atmosphere thick with tension, anxiety, and concern. This emotional draining can manifest in various ways. A friend battling anxiety might constantly seek reassurance, inadvertently shifting their unresolved fears onto those around them. A colleague grappling with depression may appear withdrawn, leaving their teammates to shoulder not just their workload, but also their unexplained sadness. These exchanges, while typically lacking malice, are deeply impactful for the people on the receiving end. What starts as an attempt to connect or find support often evolves into a scenario where individuals feel overwhelmed and depleted by the emotional weight imposed upon them. But why does this happen? Unbeknownst to many, emotional difficulties can lead to a deep-seated belief that one's suffering must be shared, often resulting in an unintentional transference of emotional burdens. When individuals feel isolated in their struggles, they may reach out to others seeking connection, hoping to alleviate their inner turmoil. However, this sharing of emotional distress can inadvertently cast a shadow on the friendships and relationships meant to serve as sources of solace. Without awareness or intent, those with mental health issues can drain their loved ones, leaving emotional exhaustion in their wake. Moreover, this phenomenon isn't merely a byproduct of individual unresolved issues. It is influenced by societal norms that discourage open dialogue about mental health. Many individuals harbor deep-seated fears about confronting their emotional struggles, often leading to a sense of shame or inadequacy. As a result, behaviors manifest in ways that can leave others feeling overwhelmed rather than supported. A well-meaning person may misinterpret their role, believing they must absorb another's pain to demonstrate compassion. In this cycle of emotional bonding, the needs of the individual become secondary to the collective unresolved issues of both parties. However, recognizing this cycle is the pivotal first step toward reclaiming emotional energy. One must acknowledge that offering support does not necessitate sacrificing one's own well-being. Awareness equips us to discern when our emotional reservoir is running low and empowers us to identify when we are at risk of becoming emotionally drained. By shining a light on these dynamics, we prepare ourselves for the journey ahead, one where establishing boundaries becomes vital to maintaining a sense of balance. The journey toward emotional resilience requires not only understanding these unseen forces at play, but also accepting that acknowledging one's needs is not an act of selfishness, but a necessary measure of self-care. As we move forward in this exploration, remember that understanding this emotional drain is not merely about observing the behavior of others. It's about becoming attuned to the hidden dynamics that may impact your mental landscape and taking the reins of your emotional health. The emotional drain experienced in relationships is not just an abstract concept. Its impacts can be profound and far-reaching, particularly for individuals who find themselves on its receiving end. Take, for instance, Sarah, a dedicated nurse who has always prided herself on her empathy and commitment to her patients. Over time, however, the emotional baggage of her colleagues, a team that struggles with chronic stress and burnout, began to take its toll. Each day, the weight of their struggles seeped into her spirit, making her feel increasingly exhausted and disconnected from her own motivations. What was once a fulfilling career morphed into a relentless cycle of emotional depletion, leaving Sarah questioning her own mental health and self-worth. Psychological research supports stories like Sarah's, revealing that individuals subjected to emotional drain are at a heightened risk for anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues such as fatigue and immune system suppression. A study published in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology found that professionals exposed to high levels of emotional labor are more likely to experience burnout, showing that chronic emotional demands can lead to both psychological impairments and diminished productivity. The emotional toll can create a sense of isolation, further intensifying feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. People enveloped in this cycle often feel guilty for their exhaustion, believing that they should simply be more resilient or more supportive, which only serves to perpetuate the cycle of self-sacrifice. Another case study illustrates how emotional drain affects not only the immediate individuals involved, but also broader relationships. Mark, a father of two, struggled with his own mental health while striving to be a supportive partner to his wife, who wrestled with anxiety. Despite his best efforts, he found himself increasingly vulnerable to emotional exhaustion. As he invested his energy in helping her navigate her fears, his own needs slipped into the background. Over time, tensions grew, and Mark found himself lashing out in frustration, leading to conflict that unraveled the very support system he sought to maintain. These dynamics mirrored those outlined in research conducted by the American Psychological Association, which highlights how enmeshment in relationships, where one person's emotional burden becomes another's responsibility, leads to chronic stress and emotional fatigue. Such scenarios paint a clear picture of the urgency in understanding these dynamics. The costs of emotional drain are not mere inconveniences. They can result in a significant decline in emotional health and relationship quality. The insidious nature of emotional drain makes it all too easy to ignore personal limits, pushing individuals further into depressive states, anxiety, and even resentment. Moreover, the narrative that one must endure emotional discomfort for the sake of love or solidarity hinders authentic connection and self-expression. Recognizing when personal well-being is compromised allows individuals to reclaim their strength and redefine their relationships in healthier terms. As we delve deeper into this exploration of emotional drain, it becomes essential to identify not only the impacts but also the subtle warning signs that often go unnoticed. These signs act as a key to protecting oneself while supporting others. In the next section, we will uncover these hidden indicators that can alert you to the presence of emotional drain before it becomes overwhelming, equipping you with the knowledge to maintain healthy boundaries as you navigate your relationships. Understanding these signals will be paramount to fostering emotional balance and ensuring you do not lose yourself amidst the complexities of caring for those around you. The impacts of emotional drain extend beyond the individual experiencing it, creating ripples that affect caregivers, friends, and colleagues as well. Consider the case of Jamie, a longtime friend and supporter of Mia, who has been managing bipolar disorder. Initially, Jamie felt a sense of purpose in helping Mia navigate her highs and lows, providing a shoulder to cry on and offering unwavering support. However, over time, the emotional demands began to weigh heavily on Jamie. She found herself constantly worried about Mia's stability, uncertain of how to respond to her shifting moods. This situation not only strained Jamie's mental health but also impacted her professional life, causing her to arrive late to work and miss important deadlines due to late-night conversations and emotional crises. Research conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health reveals that caregivers like Jamie are at a remarkable risk of developing compassion fatigue, a state of emotional withdrawal that arises from prolonged empathy overload. The toll on personal relationships becomes evident when friends and family members find themselves navigating an ever-volatile emotional climate, often leading to resentment and guilt. Jamie's experience exemplifies how the emotional drain can lead caregivers to feel unappreciated and overwhelmed, creating a dangerous cycle that can turn supportive relationships into sources of chronic stress and anxiety. Similarly, in professional settings, the implications of emotional drain manifest in subtle yet profound ways. Take Marcus, who works in a high-stress environment where team members often confide their personal struggles. As a result, he unwittingly becomes a focal point for colleagues seeking emotional refuge. Initially proud of his supportive role, Marcus soon began feeling the pressures of others' emotional burdens encroaching on his responsibilities. He found it increasingly difficult to concentrate on his tasks and often felt drained by end-of-day interactions. Recognizing patterns of this nature is crucial. Studies indicate that workplace emotional exhaustion can lead to decreased job performance, heightened absenteeism, and increased turnover rates. It is essential for those in close proximity to individuals struggling with mental health issues to understand the variations in emotional responses they may exhibit. The heavy emotional toll can lead to a withdrawal phenomenon, where friends or colleagues who initially offered support may instinctively distance themselves out of self-preservation. This distancing is often misinterpreted as a lack of compassion, further complicating the relationship dynamics. For many caregivers, the emotional drain becomes a two-way street, where both parties suffer from unaddressed feelings of inadequacy and the fear of further emotional burdening. Recognizing these patterns is crucial for self-defense. This knowledge serves as the first line of protection against becoming enmeshed in someone else's emotional turmoil and losing sight of one's own needs. Understanding how emotional drain plays out not only prepares you to set appropriate boundaries, but also encourages open discussions about mental health challenges without judgment, facilitating healthier relationships. The urgency in grasping these concepts cannot be overstated. They arm you with the awareness necessary to maintain your well-being while engaging in supportive roles. As we move forward, we will delve into the escalation of emotional control, revealing how these dynamics can entrap not only those who are directly suffering, but also those who care for them. This next exploration will shed light on the often overlooked cycles of manipulation and the ongoing journey to reclaim autonomy in emotional exchanges. Recognizing this cycle is vital. It is within your grasp to ensure that the bonds you forge remain rooted in respect and mutual understanding, rather than dependency and depletion. Chapter 2: The Boundary Blueprint: Setting Healthy Limits. Imagine stepping into a space where you feel entirely in control, not just of your surroundings, but of your emotional landscape as well. Setting healthy boundaries is the foundation for that transformative experience. They act as the invisible lines that protect your inner world, and they deserve to be established with intention and clarity. The importance of boundaries cannot be overstated. Research shows that individuals with well-defined limits report greater mental health, increased emotional resilience, and healthier relationships. In a world where emotional demands often feel overwhelming, the practice of boundary setting becomes an essential skill that empowers us to nurture our well-being. The origins of boundary setting are deeply rooted in psychological theory. Renowned psychologist Dr. Henry Cloud emphasizes that boundaries are essential for our mental health. He speaks of boundaries as the necessary lines we must draw to maintain our personal space and integrity. Yet, despite their significance, many people falter when it comes to establishing these limits. A staggering 50% of individuals concede to emotional compromise in relationships out of fear of conflict or rejection. This reluctance to assert one's needs often leads to resentment and emotional exhaustion, making it increasingly important to break this pattern. Consider the story of Amanda, a young professional who regularly found herself overwhelmed by the constant demands of her colleagues. Despite her own looming deadlines, she felt an irresistible urge to help others, often at her own expense. Over time, Amanda experienced a heavy toll on her emotional and mental well-being, often coming home from work feeling depleted and unfulfilled. It wasn't until a mentor introduced her to the concept of setting boundaries that she began to reclaim her energy and sense of self-worth. By learning to assert her limits, Amanda transformed not only her work life but also her personal relationships. With boundaries clearly defined, she found herself in a position to engage in more meaningful interactions, built on mutual respect. The process of establishing healthy limits starts with self-reflection and understanding one's values. It's imperative to recognize what truly matters to you, be it personal time, emotional energy, or professional commitments. Once these values are established, you can begin articulating them to those around you. Consider this. Every time you say yes out of obligation, you are saying no to yourself. By reframing this viewpoint, you can empower yourself to prioritize your needs without guilt or shame. Expert insights suggest that successful boundary setting also involves clear and open communication. Whether it's having an honest conversation with a family member or discussing limits with a colleague, articulating your needs fosters an environment of respect and understanding. This important dialogue signals to others that you value not only your own needs, but also their emotional transparency, paving the way for healthier dynamics. As you explore the concept of boundaries, remember, this is not merely a skill. It's a vital part of self-care and empowerment. The ability to set limits is essential for every individual striving for a balanced emotional life. Embracing this practice will not only enhance your overall well-being, but will also encourage those around you to respect their own boundaries. In this journey toward transformation, you are the architect of your emotional space. As we progress into the subsequent sections, we will explore practical tools and techniques to fortify these boundaries, enabling you to establish unshakable limits that enhance your emotional balance and foster healthier relationships. Your willingness to adopt this mindset is the first step on the path to reclaiming your emotional energy and crafting a life of intentional connection. Establishing healthy boundaries is not merely a protective measure for the individual. It is a transformative strategy that aids both parties in a relationship, particularly when mental health challenges are involved. This practice fosters a climate of respect, allowing everyone engaged in the interaction to feel safe and supported while navigating their respective emotional landscapes. Boundaries serve as a framework for healthier communication, ultimately enhancing understanding and reducing feelings of resentment. For someone facing mental health issues, knowing that there are limits in place can provide a sense of security and predictability, which is often lacking in their emotional experiences. For example, consider the case of Rachel, who has a close friend named Jake struggling with severe anxiety. At first, Rachel felt compelled to provide constant support, often dropping her own plans to comfort Jake in his moments of distress. However, this relentless commitment led Rachel to feel overwhelmed, and gradually she began to resent the friendship. The emotional drain became evident, adversely affecting Rachel's mental health and ultimately diminishing her ability to help Jake effectively. When Rachel learned to set boundaries, she started to communicate when she could provide support and when she needed time for herself. This allowed Jake to recognize that Rachel's limitations were not a rejection of him, but rather a way to ensure both their well-being. Through this boundary setting, Jake could engage in self-soothing exercises and eventually began seeking professional help, appreciating Rachel's newfound energy and genuine support when they interacted. The urgency of implementing boundaries cannot be overstated. In a study conducted by multiple licensed therapists, it was found that individuals experiencing mental health challenges benefit from knowing their loved ones have limits. In relationships lacking boundaries, the person with mental health issues may unconsciously escalate their emotional demands, leading to a cycle in which the caregiver feels obligated to sacrifice their own needs, leading to burnout and strained relationships. Boundaries create a structured environment where both parties are empowered to express their needs, fostering an atmosphere of mutual respect. In another case, we meet Tom, a manager who becomes increasingly frustrated as his team member, Ellen, struggles with depression. Initially, Tom offered unlimited support, covering Ellen's workload and minimizing his own responsibilities. This approach resulted in diminishing returns, as Ellen's feelings of inadequacy grew, and Tom's frustration made the workplace feel hostile. As tensions rose, Tom learned to set boundaries by clearly communicating his expectations for workload and responsibilities. He also instituted check-in meetings, which allowed Ellen to express her limitations without guilt, while also providing Tom the opportunity to encourage professional support channels. This balanced approach transformed their dynamic. Ellen began seeking treatment and felt an increased sense of accountability, while Tom regained his role as a supportive leader rather than an overwhelmed caregiver. This strategy creates a win-win scenario. It helps reinforce emotional stability for the person with mental health challenges, while safeguarding the mental health of those around them. Ultimately, boundaries become a lifeline, enabling caregivers to engage meaningfully without losing themselves and allowing individuals with mental health challenges to take incremental steps towards self-advocacy. As we continue through this chapter, the importance of recognizing these boundaries will become even clearer. Understanding how to set and enforce limits is key to forming deeper, more authentic connections while prioritizing emotional well-being. With effective boundaries in place, you'll be equipped to navigate complex relationships with confidence and clarity, preparing you for the next stage of transforming your emotional landscape. To successfully implement the method of setting healthy boundaries, it's essential to approach it with a clear, step-by-step plan that empowers you to take charge of your emotional landscape. The first step begins with self-awareness. Take some time to reflect on your current relationships and identify where your boundaries may be lacking. You might consider journaling your feelings or discussing your thoughts with a trusted friend. Ask yourself questions like, are there moments when I feel overwhelmed or resentful? And what boundaries can help me maintain my well-being? This reflection sets the foundation for understanding the specific areas where you need to assert your limits. The second step is to communicate these boundaries clearly and confidently. Practice expressing your limits in a calm and assertive manner. For example, if a colleague frequently interrupts your work time with personal conversations, calmly tell them that you value your focus during certain hours and would appreciate keeping casual interactions for breaks. Role-playing these conversations with a friend can make you feel more comfortable for the real scenario. Remember, effective communication is rooted in honesty and compassion. You're not only advocating for yourself, but also fostering a healthier relationship dynamic. Next, it's vital to reinforce your boundaries consistently. This might feel challenging initially, especially if you're accustomed to prioritizing others' needs over your own. Implement small wins by starting with minor adjustments. For instance, if you've committed to attending every social event, begin by politely declining one invitation. This simple action builds your confidence and sends a powerful message to yourself and those around you that you honor your own needs. As you practice asserting these boundaries, you'll notice how your energy levels rise and your relationships may improve. Additionally, pay attention to your internal dialogue. Shifting your mindset is instrumental in maintaining healthy boundaries. Replace thoughts of guilt, "I should be more helpful," with affirmations that reinforce your right to self-care. It's okay to prioritize my well-being. The more you practice this reframing, the more natural it will become. Consider creating a list of affirmations tailored to your personal situation and recite them each day to solidify this new mindset. To maintain a healthy balance while helping others, develop a self-care routine that nourishes your own emotional health. Schedule regular me time into your calendar, whether it be through meditation, exercise, or pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. This practice encourages you to recharge and equips you to support others more effectively. Finally, take a moment to celebrate your progress. Each achievement, no matter how small, deserves recognition. Building boundaries is not an overnight transformation. It's a lifelong journey that requires persistence and enthusiasm. As you embark on this journey, remember that every step you take toward understanding and implementing healthy boundaries is a victory worth celebrating. As we conclude this chapter, gear yourself up for the next stage in our exploration, understanding emotional triggers and learning how to respond instead of react in tough situations. This vital skill not only enhances your ability to maintain boundaries, but also empowers you to nurture your emotional landscape effectively. Look forward to practical strategies that will help you navigate your emotional responses with ease and grace. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation. Your journey to personal empowerment continues here. If you enjoyed this chapter, like this video and share your thoughts on how setting boundaries has impacted your life or any suggestions you have for our community's growth. Let's transform together. Chapter 3. Protecting yourself without guilt or fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing around you, and feeling entirely absolute in your right to stay dry. This chapter is about harnessing that same sense of invulnerability as we explore the concept of protecting yourself without guilt or fear. The journey toward emotional resilience begins with the understanding that prioritizing your well-being is not an act of selfishness, but rather an essential step in cultivating healthy relationships and maintaining your emotional balance. The more you grasp this idea, the stronger your resolve becomes to protect your mental space from external pressures. This mindset shift finds roots in the research conducted by psychologist Dr. Brené Brown, who emphasizes that vulnerability and courage go hand in hand. By learning to set and maintain personal boundaries, you cultivate a protective shield against emotional exhaustion, one that is constructed with the materials of self-worth and self-care. While it may feel uncomfortable at first, adopting this mindset can profoundly transform how you experience interactions with those whose needs might threaten your own emotional equilibrium. Statistics reveal that nearly 75% of individuals report feeling guilty when prioritizing their own well-being over others. This guilt often stems from deeply ingrained societal norms that glorify self-sacrifice, erroneously portraying it as a virtue. This common narrative can leave you feeling trapped between your own needs and the expectations of others, leading to burnout and emotional depletion. Understanding that many people share this experience can be empowering. You are not alone in your struggles with guilt and fear surrounding self-care. Consider the story of Ben, a dedicated caregiver for his elderly parents. For years, he felt it was his duty to handle their every need, often sacrificing time with friends and neglecting his own physical health in the process. As the weight of his responsibilities grew heavier, Ben found himself feeling increasingly resentful and fatigued. One day, a close friend encouraged Ben to carve out me time by engaging in activities he enjoyed, like hiking and playing guitar. This suggestion resonated deeply with him, but also made him feel guilty at first, as he feared abandoning his parents. Through honest conversations with them, Ben realized they wanted him to prioritize his happiness. By allowing himself guilt-free time for self-care, he not only improved his well-being, but also was better equipped to support his family. This journey requires consistent practice and dedication, but is incredibly achievable. It is critical to view self-care as a proactive measure rather than a reactive escape. Creating small rituals that prioritize your emotional well-being, whether it's a weekly yoga session, a nature walk, or simply a few moments of quiet reflection each day, can begin to replace the guilt with a sense of empowerment. Embrace these practices as integral parts of your life, rather than optional extras. By proactively protecting your mental space, you build resilience that fosters healthier relationships with yourself and others. As you cultivate the ability to say no without fear of repercussions or guilt, you empower those around you to recognize that you value your emotional health. This sets a precedent in your relationships, encouraging others to honor their needs as well. In this chapter, you have taken a crucial first step towards empowering yourself. Understanding that self-care does not equate to selfishness lays the groundwork for a healthier emotional landscape. As we delve deeper into this subject, we will explore practical strategies to help you maintain this protective mindset and navigate emotional exchanges without sacrificing your well-being. Your journey of transformation continues, one empowered decision at a time. The strategy of protecting yourself without guilt or fear is not only beneficial for your own mental well-being, it also creates a healthier dynamic for those around you, especially individuals facing mental health challenges. When you assert your needs and maintain personal boundaries, you cultivate an environment of emotional stability where everyone can thrive. This approach fosters a sense of safety that empowers others to acknowledge their boundaries as well. By taking care of your emotional health first, you set an example that encourages those who struggle with their mental health to prioritize their well-being, enabling them to seek help or implement their coping mechanisms without feeling the pressure to rely solely on you. For instance, consider the case of Lisa, an elementary school teacher dedicated to her students, but often overwhelmed by their emotional needs. Two of her students, Patrick and Maya, deal with anxiety at home and at school. Initially, Lisa poured all her energy into trying to alleviate their struggles, often sacrificing her breaks and personal time to provide constant support. As a result, she experienced burnout, making her less effective in the classroom and emotionally available when her students needed her the most. After attending a professional development workshop focused on educator self-care, Lisa learned that prioritizing her own mental health could lead to better outcomes not only for herself, but also for her students. Implementing this newfound philosophy, Lisa began scheduling brief breaks throughout her day, ensuring she was emotionally replenished before engaging with her students. By taking these intentional pauses, she returned to her classroom revitalized and better equipped to help not just Patrick and Maya, but all her students. This shift not only improved the classroom environment, but also encouraged her students to voice their needs more assertively. Patrick started attending therapy to address his anxiety, while Maya found activities that grounded her emotionally, which she later shared with her peers. Lisa's commitment to self-care had a ripple effect, demonstrating that when you protect your emotional space, you enable others to do the same. Research underscores this dynamic approach, revealing that individuals who maintain personal boundaries and prioritize self-care are perceived as more stable and approachable. According to a study at the University of California, establishing boundaries can lead to healthier emotional interactions, reducing enmeshment and codependency in relationships. This means that as you assert your needs, not only do you cultivate a sense of personal control, but you also promote an atmosphere where others feel empowered to seek the help they require. This strategy also applies to caregivers, who often face the most significant challenges in drawing the line between their responsibilities and their emotional well-being. Think of Eric, a caregiver for his aging mother who lives with dementia. Initially, he dedicated every moment to her care, believing that any time spent on himself was selfish. The toll on Eric's mental health was substantial. Recognizing this pattern, he began to take shorter breaks around caregiving, whether it was for a walk or simply enjoying quiet time to recharge. Noticing the improvement in his mood, Eric's mother responded positively. Their interactions became more enjoyable, and she too seemed calmer. This illustrates how protecting your emotional health not only enhances your life, but also benefits those you care about. As we advance through this chapter, it is essential to internalize the urgency of embracing this approach. Understanding the profound impact of protecting yourself without guilt or fear equips you with the tools needed to build healthier, more nurturing relationships. By recognizing the interconnection between your emotional well-being and those around you, you pave the way for a journey filled with empowerment and collective healing. The path ahead is one where asserting your needs becomes not only a necessity, but also a catalyst for the healing of those you care for deeply. To effectively protect yourself without guilt or fear, it's essential to have a clear plan of action that empowers you to assert your boundaries while maintaining supportive relationships. Start by identifying specific situations in which you feel pressured or overwhelmed. Take a moment to write down these moments in a dedicated journal. This exercise helps you clarify where your boundaries are being tested, allowing you to address them head-on. Journaling serves as a safe space for self-reflection, helping you recognize patterns in your interactions and emotions. The next step is to create a personal mantra that reinforces your right to prioritize your well-being. A simple yet powerful phrase, such as "my needs matter," can serve as a reminder that it's perfectly acceptable to care for yourself without guilt. Repeat this mantra daily, especially during moments of uncertainty or pressure. This practice shifts your mindset and starts to replace any guilt associated with self-care with an empowering affirmation of your self-worth. Once you've established your personal mantra, practice communicating your boundaries with clarity and compassion. Use I statements to express your needs. For example, I need some time to recharge right now, or I can't take on that extra task at the moment. This approach takes the focus off the other person and centers it on your feelings, which helps minimize defensiveness and promotes understanding. Role-playing these scenarios with a friend or family member can boost your confidence and ease any anxiety associated with starting these conversations. To build momentum, start with small wins. Choose a low-stakes situation to implement your newly established boundaries. For instance, if you're invited to an event you'd rather decline, practice saying no thank you. Celebrate this act of self-preservation. Acknowledging these small victories cultivates a sense of achievement and distinguishes this habit as a positive, recurring element in your life. In addition to your boundaries, establish a self-care routine that fosters balance. Dedicate time each week to activities that rejuvenate you, whether it's a workout, meditation, or curling up with a good book. Protecting your emotional space hinges on finding time for yourself in your busy schedule. By actively participating in self-care, you'll notice an improvement in your mood and overall outlook. Moreover, set reminders throughout your day to pause and check in with your emotional state. Ask yourself, am I feeling overwhelmed? Or do I need to take a moment to breathe? This practice of self-checking can empower you to make real-time adjustments, ensuring that you maintain balance between offering support to others and safeguarding your emotional health. As we wrap up this chapter, understand that implementing these strategies is an ongoing journey. The strides you take toward protecting yourself without guilt or fear will invariably enhance the quality of your relationships, allowing you to engage fully and positively while ensuring your own wellness. In our next chapter, we will explore the nuanced concept of emotional triggers, learning how to recognize and respond to them thoughtfully rather than reactively. Understanding these triggers will further equip you with the tools necessary to navigate emotional exchanges while maintaining your boundaries. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation for our upcoming insights. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like this video and share your thoughts on how boundary setting has impacted your life or any suggestions you may have for future discussions. Together, we're creating a community of support and empowerment. Chapter 4. Emotional Triggers. Responding, not reacting. Imagine standing on solid ground, aware of the swirling emotions around you, but firmly positioned to engage with them thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This chapter focuses on recognizing emotional triggers and learning how to respond rather than react, empowering you to chart a more mindful course through your emotional landscape. The ability to identify and manage these triggers is not only essential for personal growth, it also enhances your interactions with others, especially during moments of emotional intensity. Understanding the origins of emotional triggers is key to mastering this skill. Triggers often stem from past experiences, unresolved conflicts, or deeply ingrained beliefs about ourselves and the world. Research from the American Psychological Association suggests that up to 79% of individuals experience emotional responses linked to specific stimuli, often without conscious awareness of the source. Recognizing these triggers can feel like unraveling a complex knot. The more you understand, the clearer your path becomes. Consider the case of Mark, who regularly felt overwhelmed at work when his supervisor provided critical feedback. Each time he received constructive criticism, he experienced a rush of anxiety and defensiveness, immediately entering a reactive mode that clouded his judgment. Over time, Mark realized that his reactions stemmed from a deeply rooted belief that he was not good enough, a narrative formed during his childhood. This realization was a turning point for him. He began exploring techniques to pause and reflect before responding to feedback, reframing it as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. Experts in emotional intelligence emphasize that gaining awareness of our triggers allows us to create a gap between stimulus and response. Renowned psychologist Daniel Goleman posits that this gap is the key to emotional regulation. offering a pathway for thoughtful engagement rather than knee-jerk reactions. By recognizing our triggers, we gain agency over our emotions and behaviors, empowering us to respond in ways that align with our values and intentions. Statistics reveal that individuals who develop emotional regulation skills report lower stress levels and improved relationships. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found a direct correlation between heightened self-awareness of emotional triggers and increased levels of emotional resilience. This linkage underscores the power of understanding what lies beneath our emotional responses, and how this clarity can lead to more meaningful, fulfilling interactions. To cultivate this skill in your own life, start by observing moments when you feel triggered. Keep a journal for a few weeks, noting the events, emotions, and your responses. This written reflection allows you to track patterns, helping you identify specific triggers that elicit strong reactions. Over time, you will develop a roadmap of your emotional responses, equipping you to approach similar situations with greater awareness. Additionally, practice mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing or grounding exercises when you recognize that you are becoming triggered. These techniques serve to center your thoughts and emotions, enabling you to create space for a thoughtful response instead of a reflexive reaction. By engaging in these practices, you empower yourself to take control of your emotional landscape, allowing more intentional and productive interactions with those around you. As we move forward in this chapter, glimpse the transformative power of mastering your emotional triggers. With each step you take to respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively, you reclaim your emotional agency, creating a more balanced and fulfilling life. Prepare yourself as we delve deeper into strategies that will enhance not only your self-awareness, but also your interpersonal relationships. You hold the key to shaping your emotional journey, one mindful response at a time. The ability to recognize and respond to emotional triggers is a powerful strategy that benefits both individuals and those around them, particularly when dealing with mental health challenges. This approach creates a more emotionally stable environment, fostering healthier relationships and reducing the volatility that often accompanies heightened emotional reactions. When you learn to manage your triggers effectively, you not only enhance your emotional well-being, you also cultivate a more compassionate and understanding interaction with those who may be struggling. This supportive atmosphere encourages open dialogue about feelings and challenges, thereby reducing feelings of isolation, often faced by individuals grappling with mental health issues. Take the example of Laura, a manager who oversees a team that includes Mark, an employee with a history of anxiety disorders. Initially, Laura found herself becoming frustrated when Mark would withdraw from group discussions, falling silent whenever feedback was provided. Instead of approaching the situation with curiosity, she reacted defensively, interpreting his silence as a lack of engagement or interest. As tensions escalated, Laura recognized that her reactions were exacerbating Mark's anxiety, ultimately leading to a breakdown in communication and trust. Upon realizing the impact of her behavior, Laura undertook a journey to understand both her emotional triggers and those of her team members. With that newfound awareness, she began to practice calming techniques before entering conversations with Mark, allowing herself to approach him with empathy rather than frustration. This simple shift in her emotional response paved the way for more constructive discussions and helped Mark feel safer in expressing himself. As a result, their relationship blossomed, enabling Mark to share his concerns more openly, encouraging him to participate actively in team settings without fear of judgment. Research supports the effectiveness of this method. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that leaders who display emotional awareness create a reduction in workplace aggression and conflict, positively affecting team dynamics. When individuals prioritize understanding their emotional responses, it mitigates the reactionary behaviors that can lead to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. This awareness fosters resilience, allowing those facing mental health challenges to navigate their emotions with a clearer perspective, which promotes healing and personal growth. Moreover, consider the role of emotional triggers in personal relationships. Sarah, who struggled with managing her anger in response to her partner's sometimes inattentive behavior, often reacted intensely, leading to heated arguments. Recognizing that her reactions stemmed from her fear of abandonment, a trigger from her childhood, Sarah decided to address the root of her emotions before responding. She began journaling her feelings and taking time to breathe before engaging in discussions. With this practice, Sarah learned to express her feelings calmly, which allowed her partner to understand her needs without feeling attacked. This change not only improved their communication, but also deepened their emotional connection, highlighting the transformative power of managing emotional triggers. In both these examples, we can see how recognizing and responding to emotional triggers promotes healthier interactions, not only for those with mental health challenges, but also for their loved ones. As you develop this critical skill, you enhance your capacity for empathy, foster authentic connections, and nurture a supportive environment. Understanding your triggers allows you to engage deeply with those around you, facilitating a ripple effect of emotional awareness and growth that can truly make a difference. As we continue to explore the realm of emotional awareness, it's essential to understand the next layer, the escalation of control in relationships that can shift dynamics and lead to unproductive cycles. Prepare to delve deeper into recognizing these patterns, ensuring that your path remains one of empowerment and balance. Your emotional resilience is evolving, laying the groundwork for a more fulfilling life. To effectively manage emotional triggers and cultivate an environment of thoughtful responses, it's essential to have a concrete plan of action in place. The first step is self-reflection. Begin by keeping a trigger diary for 1 week, where you document situations that evoke strong emotional reactions. Note the context, your feelings, and the immediate responses you made. This exercise is crucial for gaining insight into your patterns and recognizing specific triggers that often lead to emotional distress. Once you've identified your triggers, it's time to shift your perspective. Start practicing mindfulness techniques whenever you realize a situation is escalating. A simple yet effective exercise is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Pause and take a deep breath, then engage your senses. Identify 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. This grounding exercise helps to bring your focus back to the present moment, calming your mind and allowing you to respond from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. Next, establish a proactive response strategy. When you notice a specific trigger approaching, remind yourself of your personal mantra. For instance, if someone's remarks often lead to feelings of inadequacy, reinforce your self-worth by repeating, "I am enough." This internal affirmation can help reframe your reaction, enabling you to approach the encounter with confidence instead of fear. Practicing such affirmations in front of a mirror can enhance your belief in your self-worth and emotional resilience. As you begin to implement these techniques, aim for small wins that build momentum. For example, if you successfully manage your reaction to a work-related critique, take a moment to celebrate this victory. Acknowledgement of these small successes reinforces positive behavior and encourages you to continue developing your emotional response skills. Consider treating yourself to a small reward, like a favorite snack or a quiet moment reading a book, to solidify this progress. Maintaining a healthy balance between supporting others and prioritizing your well-being is essential for sustainable emotional health. Encourage open dialogues in your relationships. Share your intentions with loved ones about your commitment to self-care. This transparency fosters an atmosphere of support where both parties can express their needs without fear of judgment. It may also inspire those around you to reflect on their boundaries and practical self-care strategies. Additionally, create a personal self-care toolkit. This can include activities or practices that bring you joy and relaxation, like painting, jogging, or practicing yoga. Having these resources handy serves as a reminder that investing in your well-being is just as important as being there for others. Schedule regular time in your calendar for these activities, treating them as essential appointments for your emotional health. As we close this chapter, the power of managing emotional triggers becomes increasingly clear. This journey toward emotional awareness and growth paves the way for improved relationships and deeper connections. In our next chapter, we'll explore the nuances of emotional control, examining how to identify manipulative patterns in relationships and protect your energy from unwanted influence. Prepare to gain insights that will further enhance your emotional resilience. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation. If you found this chapter helpful, please like this video and share your thoughts on how managing your emotional triggers has transformed your experiences. Your feedback is invaluable as we continue building a community dedicated to personal growth and mutual support. Chapter 5. Energy Vampires: Handling Toxic Interactions. Imagine walking through a vibrant garden only to encounter a patch of weeds that threatens to choke the life from the flowers around it. This metaphor aptly illustrates the phenomenon of energy vampires, individuals who drain your emotional vitality and leave you feeling exhausted. Recognizing and managing these toxic interactions is crucial for maintaining your emotional well-being and staying aligned with your goals. The good news is that you have the power to confront these challenges head-on and reclaim your energy. The term energy vampire often refers to individuals who consistently draw on the emotional resources of others without contributing positively to the relationship. According to research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, people who engage in manipulative or draining behaviors can significantly hinder the emotional and mental health of those around them. This draining effect is particularly concerning as it fosters an atmosphere of negativity, leaving individuals feeling overwhelmed and resentful. Consider the case of Tom, who thrived in his workplace until he became entangled with a colleague, Lisa. Tom enjoyed a positive rapport with his team, but Lisa's relentless need for validation and her constant complaints about her workload began to overshadow the team dynamic. Initially, Tom was happy to listen and offer support, but over time, he found himself feeling increasingly drained after interactions with her. He noticed that his enthusiasm for his job began to wane, and the quality of his work suffered. Tom realized he had fallen into the trap of catering to an energy vampire, sacrificing his own emotional health in the process. To combat these negative interactions, the first step is self-awareness. Reflect on your relationships and identify individuals who consistently drain your energy. It's essential to understand how these interactions make you feel, physically and emotionally. Keeping a journal can help you track these encounters, allowing you to see patterns over time. Awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional energy, providing you with the clarity needed to take action. Next, establish clear boundaries with energy vampires. While this may feel daunting, it is a crucial tactic to protect your well-being. For example, if you notice that interactions with a colleague consistently leave you feeling depleted, consider limiting the time you spend with them or steering conversations away from negative topics. Practicing assertiveness in expressing your limits helps reinforce your emotional boundaries and empowers you to prioritize your needs. Moreover, focus on your immediate environment. Surround yourself with supportive, positive individuals who energize and motivate you. Engaging with these uplifting relationships can create a refreshing contrast to the draining ones, replenishing your emotional reserves. Building a supportive network is vital. These connections can help buffer the impact of energy vampires, allowing you to foster healthier relationships built on collaboration and positivity. As you embark on the journey of managing and mitigating interactions with energy vampires, remember that your emotional well-being is invaluable. By acknowledging the toll that toxic relationships can take and learning how to manage them, you are taking a significant step toward personal empowerment. Transformative change is not only possible, it's within your reach. As we move forward in this chapter, we will delve deeper into practical strategies to handle these energy-draining dynamics effectively. Prepare to equip yourself with the tools necessary to defend your emotional space while fostering resilience and clarity in your relationships. Your energy belongs to you, and understanding how to cultivate it is your path to regaining control and intentional living. The strategy of addressing and managing interactions with energy vampires is not only effective for safeguarding your emotional well-being, It also holds significant benefits for individuals facing mental health challenges. When you establish boundaries and reduce the amount of time spent with those who drain your emotional resources, you open up opportunities for healthier connections and a more balanced state of mind. This approach creates an environment that prioritizes emotional safety for both yourself and those you care for, thereby fostering growth and resilience in everyone involved. Consider the case of John, who had been struggling with depression. His best friend, Mike, had a tendency to engage in constant negativity, often dwelling on his problems without considering John's emotional state. Initially, John found it difficult to step back. He believed he should be there for Mike, feeling guilty for wanting to distance himself. However, as Mike's excessive complaints began to weigh John down, he realized he was spiraling further into his own depression. Eventually, John mustered the courage to express his need for a change in their conversations. John found a way to gently steer Mike toward focusing on solutions and positive experiences rather than the problems he faced. Remarkably, this small shift relieved some emotional pressure from John while encouraging Mike to adopt a more positive mindset. Over time, their friendship transformed into a more balanced relationship in which both supported each other. Research underscores that managing boundaries with energy vampires can lead to improved emotional health for both parties. According to a study in the Journal of Health Psychology, individuals who actively work on cultivating positive relationships report higher levels of subjective well-being and resilience. By setting boundaries with energy-draining individuals, you not only help yourself, but also promote healthier emotional behaviors in those around you, encouraging them to reflect on their impact on others. Another compelling example comes from the experience of Mia, a counselor who was deeply affected by the emotional burdens of her clients. Wanting to provide support, she found herself living in a cyclical pattern of empathy and exhaustion. Mia realized that her commitment to being available for everyone was diminishing her effectiveness as a counselor and affecting her mental health. After recognizing the need to address this cycle, she instituted specific boundaries with her clients, limiting the time she spent answering after-hours calls and ensuring she had time to decompress after emotionally intense sessions. As a result, Mia discovered that this boundary not only empowered her to recharge, but also allowed her to engage more authentically during client sessions. Clients began to notice her renewed energy and focus during therapy, which ultimately created a more productive environment for everyone involved. The urgency of mastering this strategy cannot be overstated. By learning to protect your emotional space, you not only enhance your mental well-being, but also cultivate an environment that permits others to flourish. Understanding the balance of giving and receiving support leads to healthier mutual relationships that do not rely on one party draining the other. This practice encourages everyone involved to adopt self-awareness and accountability for their emotional states. As we continue through this chapter, we will explore practical techniques and exercises to empower you in handling energy-draining dynamics effectively. Prepare yourself to embrace new skills that will not only protect your energy, but also foster deeper, more meaningful connections with yourself and those you care about. Remember, the capacity to maintain emotional vitality lies within your hands, and each step you take toward management is a step toward genuine empowerment and fulfillment. To effectively manage interactions with energy vampires, it's essential to implement a structured approach that empowers you to reclaim your emotional energy while maintaining healthy relationships. Start this journey with self-reflection. Dedicate a few quiet moments to identify the relationships in your life that consistently drain your energy. Write down these names and the specific behaviors that contribute to your feelings of exhaustion. This exercise lays the groundwork for understanding the dynamics at play, giving you clarity about who truly impacts your emotional well-being. Once you've identified your energy-draining relationships, establish clear boundaries. Communicate your feelings to these individuals in an honest yet compassionate manner. For example, if a friend frequently seeks help without reciprocating, you could say, "I care about you and want to support you, but I also need time for myself. Let's set a specific time to talk." Setting parameters allows you to remain supportive while protecting your emotional health. Practice this assertiveness regularly. It can feel challenging at first, but it becomes easier as you reinforce the importance of your boundaries. Next, introduce the practice of mindful engagement. Before you interact with these energy vampires, take a moment to ground yourself. Use deep breathing techniques. Inhale deeply for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. This simple exercise calms your nerves and prepares you mentally for the conversation. A calm mindset enables you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Acknowledge your small wins as you begin to implement these strategies. Celebrate each time you successfully set a boundary or shift the conversation to a more balanced focus. If you decline an invitation from someone draining, treat yourself to a self-care activity afterward. These affirmations reinforce positive behavior and help you understand that protecting your energy is not only acceptable but necessary. To maintain a healthy balance while helping others, prioritize your self-care routine. Allocate specific time each week for activities that rejuvenate you, be it reading, exercising, or enjoying hobbies that bring fulfillment. This time is essential for emotional replenishment. Without it, you may find yourself slipping back into old patterns of energy depletion. Engage in regular check-ins with yourself during these self-care moments. Ask yourself how you feel physically and emotionally, and whether your relationships are draining or uplifting your spirit. Use a journal to capture your feelings. This allows for greater awareness and clarity. If you notice signs of fatigue or irritation creeping in, take immediate action to reclaim your space. As we conclude this chapter, the importance of handling energy vampires becomes crystal clear. By setting boundaries and building a routine that prioritizes your well-being, you lay the foundation for healthier interactions with others. The tools you are developing will not only protect your emotional energy, but will foster an environment where you can thrive alongside those important to you. In our next chapter, we will explore the subtle dynamics of emotional control and how to reclaim autonomy in relationships that may feel manipulative. Get ready to dive deeper into recognizing these patterns and effectively asserting your emotional independence. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation. If you found this chapter helpful, please like this video and share your experiences with managing energy-draining relationships, or let us know your suggestions for future topics. Your journey toward emotional empowerment continues right here, and we're excited to be with you every step of the way. Chapter 6: Compassion Without Sacrifice. Helping Without Losing Yourself. Imagine being able to extend your hand to someone in need while keeping your emotional balance intact. This chapter delves into the vital principle of offering compassion without self-sacrifice, a skill that can transform your relationships positively. Navigating the complexities of emotional support while protecting your own well-being is not just desirable, it's essential. By learning to help others without losing yourself, you cultivate healthier interactions that allow both parties to thrive. The concept of compassion without sacrifice arises from a growing recognition of the importance of self-care in the helping professions and personal relationships. Research from the Compassion Fatigue Awareness Project reveals that up to 70% of caregivers and helping individuals report symptoms of burnout, stress, and emotional exhaustion. This staggering figure illustrates a widespread issue where the desire to assist others can lead to personal neglect. By adopting strategies that emphasize self-compassion alongside support for others, individuals can break this cycle and foster a more sustainable approach to helping. Consider the story of Alina, a school counselor dedicated to her students' well-being. Alina often found herself emotionally drained by the weight of her students' struggles. She would stay late at school, take on extra cases, and frequently check in with students even outside of school hours. Although her intentions were pure, Alina quickly realized that her commitment to her students was coming at a significant cost to her own emotional health. The long hours and lack of self-care began to wear her down, affecting her ability to support her students effectively. Recognizing this unsustainable pattern, Alina embarked on a journey to learn how to support her students without sacrificing her well-being. She began to establish clear professional boundaries regarding when she was available for students and how much emotional labor she was willing to take on outside of school hours. Alina initiated practices such as designated mental health breaks during the school day, where she took time to recharge, meditate, or even step outside for a short walk. This shift not only preserved her emotional resilience but also allowed her to be more present and effective for her students during her designated working hours. Expert insights support the need for balance in compassionate helping. According to Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher in the field of self-compassion, kindness toward oneself enhances emotional resilience, enabling individuals to provide meaningful support to others. In practicing self-compassion, caregivers like Alina can buffer against the effects of compassion fatigue and develop the emotional resources necessary for sustaining their support roles. To further illustrate this point, let's look at the example of Jake, a volunteer at a local shelter. Initially, Jake poured his heart into the cause, dedicating countless hours to serving meals and helping those in need. However, he soon found that his relentless commitment left him feeling depleted and overwhelmed, unable to engage positively with the very people he sought to help. After discussing his challenges with a fellow volunteer, Jake learned about setting boundaries and incorporating self-care practices like regular breaks and inner reflection. As he gradually implemented these strategies, he regained his passion for volunteering, transforming his contributions from a source of exhaustion to one of empowerment, both for himself and those he served. The journey toward practicing compassion without sacrifice is an empowering one. Each step you take toward prioritizing self-care enhances your ability to support others meaningfully. As we progress through this chapter, we will explore practical strategies and exercises to cultivate this balance effectively. You possess the strength to help others without diminishing your own emotional reserves, and embracing this principle will guide you toward healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Understanding how to offer compassion without sacrifice is critical not only for your emotional health, but also for those you are supporting, particularly individuals experiencing mental health challenges. This strategy fosters a more sustainable dynamic in caregiving and nurturing relationships. When you prioritize your well-being while providing support, you create an environment that facilitates genuine connection and healing. Take the example of Sophia, who worked as a social worker, focusing on families affected by addiction. Initially, Sophia felt compelled to invest all her emotional energy into her clients, often working late nights and responding to after-hour calls. However, this level of commitment began to take its toll. She felt emotionally drained and increasingly stressed. Recognizing that her exhaustion compromised her ability to provide effective support, Sophia sought guidance on maintaining a healthier balance. She learned to implement professional boundaries, letting clients know her availability and the importance of self-care. As a result, Sophia found that, by taking time for her own emotional rejuvenation, she could engage with her clients more effectively, offering them genuine support during her working hours. Importantly, her clients noticed the improvement in her attitude and energy, leading to deeper trust and engagement in their sessions. Research supports this need for balance in caregiving. A study published in the Journal of Counseling Psychology revealed that social workers who practiced self-care were significantly more effective in helping their clients. This study found that professionals who took care of their emotional and mental health reported higher levels of job satisfaction and lower levels of burnout. This not only exemplifies the importance of self-care, but also reinforces that practitioners can provide better support when they put their wellness at the forefront. Another vital example comes from the experience of Mark, who volunteered at a crisis hotline. He was dedicated to helping others through their toughest moments. However, as calls from distressed individuals grew frequent and intense, Mark began to feel overwhelmed. On the brink of burnout, he sought advice from his supervisor, who recommended that he adopt self-care practices. Mark began incorporating regular breaks during his shifts, allowing himself moments to unwind and recharge. Additionally, he engaged in peer support sessions where volunteers shared experiences and coping strategies. This practice of mutual support not only improved his well-being but also enhanced the quality of care he provided. By ensuring he was emotionally grounded, Mark could deliver assistance more effectively and compassionately, ultimately benefiting every caller he engaged. The urgency of mastering this compassionate approach cannot be understated. By learning to balance your needs with those of others, you foster resilience, not just within yourself, but also within your relationships. This practice encourages accountability on both sides, allowing individuals with mental health challenges to recognize their own need for self-care and the importance of seeking support in a healthy manner. This dynamic creates a mutual growth experience. When caregivers prioritize their own well-being, they set a powerful example for those they support. As the individuals they help begin to observe the importance of self-care, they also learn to advocate for themselves effectively. In the upcoming sections, we will delve into practical techniques and exercises to help you implement this life-changing strategy in your daily interactions. By embracing the concept of compassion without sacrifice, you can foster an atmosphere of both support and balance that enriches your life and empowers others. Prepare to explore tools that will enhance your ability to engage meaningfully while preserving your emotional vitality. To effectively implement the practice of compassion without sacrifice, start with self-reflection. Dedicate a few moments each day to assess your emotional state. Ask yourself, am I feeling drained after my interactions? Or, do I prioritize my own needs before helping others? Utilize a journal to capture your reflections, noting instances where you felt overwhelmed or fulfilled during interactions. Recognizing these patterns establishes a solid foundation for understanding when and how to set boundaries, paving the way for more balanced relationships. The next step is to establish clear boundaries. Communicating your limits is essential for protecting your emotional health. Practice scripting gentle yet assertive statements that convey your need for self-care. For instance, if a friend frequently reaches out during your private time, you might say, I value our friendship and want to support you, but I need some personal time each evening to recharge. Practicing these conversations with a trusted confidant can help ease the discomfort many feel when asserting their needs. After establishing boundaries, introduce self-care rituals into your daily or weekly routine. Identify activities that rejuvenate your spirit. These could be as simple as a short walk, meditation, or reading your favorite book. Schedule these moments into your calendar and treat them like important appointments. This ritualistic approach reinforces the idea that self-care is a priority, not an afterthought. You may start your day with intention by dedicating 15 leisurely minutes to a hobby or enjoying your morning coffee in peace. As you begin to implement these strategies, look for small wins that cultivate momentum. Celebrate when you successfully communicate a boundary or enjoy a self-care activity without guilt. Acknowledging these victories encourages you to continue establishing your emotional needs. Perhaps you allow yourself to take a break from responding to texts at night or prioritize your well-being for an afternoon. Each of these accomplishments serves as a building block toward a healthier balance in your relationships. Retention of this balance between compassion and self-care is fundamental. Schedule regular check-ins with yourself to assess how you're feeling emotionally and physically. Utilize these moments to reflect on your experiences, asking, have I been able to help others without feeling overwhelmed? If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns, gently remind yourself of the commitment you made to prioritize self-care. It's important to embrace the notion that it's okay to step back and take care of yourself. When you approach the notion of compassion without sacrifice, it fundamentally changes how you engage others. Encourage those you support to adopt similar practices, share your experiences, and empower them to recognize the importance of self-care in their journeys. As we conclude this chapter, embrace the knowledge that maintaining a balance between helping others and caring for yourself is a transformative journey. With each step you take towards implementing these strategies, you are not only fostering your emotional well-being, but also cultivating a healthier atmosphere for those around you. In our next chapter, we will explore how to maintain emotional strength while navigating difficult conversations. Understanding how to communicate effectively during tense situations is key to ensuring your voice is heard without compromising your values. This knowledge will enhance your ability to engage with others meaningfully while staying true to yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like this video and share your thoughts on how embracing compassion without sacrifice has impacted your life, or suggest any topics you'd like to explore together. You're not alone on this journey. Let's grow together. Chapter 7. Lasting Strength, Maintaining Boundaries with Confidence. Imagine standing firm against the tide, unyielding and resolute, even as waves crash around you. This imagery perfectly captures the essence of maintaining boundaries with confidence. In this chapter, we will explore the strength needed to uphold the limits you've set, transforming your emotional landscape and fostering healthier relationships. Understanding that your boundaries are not just protective measures, but rather acts of self-respect, challenges the notion that setting limits is selfish. By embracing this mind shift, you empower yourself not only to thrive, but also to contribute positively to the lives of those around you. The origins of establishing lasting strength in maintaining boundaries stem from an individual's capacity to understand their own value and worth. Research published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine illustrates the considerable benefits of having healthy boundaries. People who actively maintain their emotional limits experience lower stress levels, improved relationships, and enhanced overall well-being. It demonstrates that approaching boundaries as essential components of mental health equips individuals to handle life's demands with greater resilience. Consider Melanie's journey. A dedicated professional who often found herself overwhelmed with responsibilities at work. Initially, she perceived constant availability as a requirement for success, compromising her personal time. However, as stress began to mount and her performance suffered, she realized that her well-being was at stake. After much reflection and prompting from a mentor, Melanie began the process of establishing boundaries. She started by clearly communicating her availability to her colleagues and learned to say no to additional tasks when her plate was already full. While it felt daunting at first, Melanie's confidence grew each time she successfully upheld her limits. The positive feedback from her colleagues and supervisors reinforced her belief that maintaining her boundaries led to a more effective and engaged work environment. This newfound strength in setting boundaries rippled through other areas of Melanie's life as well. With her emotional energy replenished, she could reconnect with her hobbies, spend quality time with family, and cultivate friendships that nurtured her spirit. Experts, such as Dr. Judith Orloff, emphasize that learning to say no is a crucial skill that allows individuals to protect their energy and honor their well-being. This empowerment fosters personal growth, encouraging self-worth while enhancing relationships built on respect and appreciation. Another person, Robert, encountered similar challenges but faced them in a different context. As a caregiver for his aging parent, he struggled with feelings of guilt when he prioritized his own self-care. However, after attending a workshop on balanced caregiving, Robert learned the importance of setting boundaries not only for his peace, but also for his parents' benefit. By designating specific times for caregiving activities and ensuring he took breaks, Robert established a foundation of strength. This awareness allowed him to engage with his parent more fully without feeling depleted, ultimately fostering a deeper bond that benefited both of them. The common thread in these stories is the recognition that maintaining boundaries is ultimately about empowerment. As you adopt this mindset, remind yourself that establishing limits does not diminish your compassion or desire to help others. It enhances your ability to do so sustainably. As we progress through this chapter, we will delve into practical strategies and exercises to help you cultivate this lasting strength. You hold the ability to maintain your boundaries confidently, ensuring your emotional health while elevating those around you. Together, we will explore how this newfound strength equips you to face challenges and transform how you navigate relationships in the future. Your journey toward emotional resilience is just beginning, and the power to shape it lies within you. The strategy of maintaining boundaries with confidence is crucial, not only for personal emotional health, but also for fostering a supportive environment for individuals grappling with mental health challenges. When individuals recognize and uphold their boundaries, they create safe spaces where vulnerability can be met with respect and understanding. This dynamic is essential, as it enables both parties to feel secure while navigating complex interactions, promoting healthier exchanges. Consider the case of Sarah, a manager at a nonprofit organization who worked closely with employees dealing with high-stress demands. Initially, Sarah felt compelled to take on additional responsibilities to support her team, believing that this was the best way to foster a positive work environment. However, the emotional burden became overwhelming, leading to burnout and decreased productivity. Realizing the toll this had taken, Sarah began the process of setting personal boundaries. She started instituting office hours, during which her team could approach her with concerns, rather than relying on last-minute requests that encroached on her personal time. This adjustment had profound effects on both Sarah and her team. By maintaining her boundaries, Sarah improved her mental health, which in turn allowed her to approach her leadership role with renewed energy and focus. Her team members began to respond positively to the structure, learning to manage their own workloads more effectively. This mutual benefit illustrates how establishing and enforcing boundaries allows for healthier interactions and encourages others to adopt similar practices, fostering a culture of support and growth. Similarly, Michael, a caregiver for his sister suffering from anxiety, experienced the challenge of balancing compassion with the need for personal well-being. Initially, Michael found himself overscheduling his time to accommodate his sister's needs, believing that this support made him a good brother. Unfortunately, as his own emotional exhaustion deepened, his ability to help her diminished. After attending a support group that emphasized the importance of boundary setting, Michael reevaluated his approach. He set clear limits regarding his availability, ensuring he allocated time for his self-care, hobbies, and socializing. This shift had a profound impact on both Michael and his sister. By communicating his boundaries, Michael not only relieved his own stress but also modeled healthy behavior for his sister. As he took time for himself, she began to understand that asking for support didn't mean overburdening someone else. Their relationship transformed from a dynamic based on dependence to one rooted in mutual respect and understanding, showcasing how boundaries can empower both sides in a relationship. Why is this strategy so effective? It gives individuals the confidence to advocate for their needs, while fostering environments where those with mental health challenges feel safe to express themselves. Boundaries establish a framework within which people can support one another without the fear of emotional depletion or resentment. Research supports this notion. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that setting personal boundaries is significantly correlated with reduced stress and improved mental resilience. As we move forward, it is crucial to understand that maintaining boundaries with confidence isn't about being unyielding. It's about establishing a foundation of trust and respect. Each step you take toward confrontation not only fortifies your emotional health, but also nurtures the growth and security of those around you. In the next section, we will delve deeper into practical techniques and exercises that empower you to sustain this strength over time. The tools you gain will allow for a continued commitment to your boundaries, reinforcing your emotional health and the supportive relationships that enrich your life. Remember, your boundaries are your strength, and nurturing them is a journey you undertake not within isolation, but with the community that supports you. To implement the strategy of maintaining boundaries with confidence, start with a clear self-assessment. Take some time to reflect on your current boundaries, identifying areas where you feel overwhelmed or used. Ask yourself questions like, in what situations do I feel my needs are consistently overlooked? Or where do I feel uncomfortable saying no? Document these reflections in a journal to create a personal map of your emotional landscape. This step is not only about recognition, it helps you clarify precisely what needs to change. Once you've identified the areas requiring stronger boundaries, it's time to practice assertiveness. Begin by choosing a low-stakes situation to test your boundary-setting skills. For instance, if a coworker frequently asks for help that interferes with your own responsibilities, prepare a gentle but firm response, such as, "I wish I could help you with that task, but I'm currently focused on my own deadlines. Let's connect later." Rehearse this statement beforehand, maybe in front of a mirror or with a friend, to build your confidence. As you start practicing assertiveness, celebrate small victories. Each time you successfully set a boundary, acknowledge it as a win. Perhaps it feels small to avoid staying late at work or to decline an invitation for an evening out, but these are significant steps toward reinforcing your commitment to maintaining your emotional health. Reward yourself with something enjoyable, whether it's a favorite snack, a quiet evening, or a personal treat that reinforces your progress. Another impactful exercise is to develop a personal mantra that resonates with your commitment to maintaining boundaries. For example, "My self-care is essential for my ability to help others." Repeat this mantra daily, especially before entering social situations where you anticipate boundary challenges. Visualizing yourself confidently asserting these limits can further solidify your commitment. Engage in regular self-checks to keep yourself attuned to your emotional state. Set aside a few minutes each week to evaluate how you're feeling. Are you becoming more adept at setting boundaries, or do you feel some situations may require a stronger approach? Journaling during these reflections will help highlight trends and enhance your awareness of your emotional health over time. As you work on these strategies, it's crucial to maintain a balanced approach to helping others. While it's commendable to support those in need, overextending yourself can lead to burnout. Establish scheduled time for your personal interests or self-care activities. Whether it's enjoying a hobby, exercising, or simply having quiet time to recharge, protect this time as you would any important appointment. Reminding yourself that self-care is not selfish but vital ensures that you remain equipped to help others effectively. As you wrap up this chapter, remember that establishing and maintaining your boundaries requires consistent effort and genuine self-reflection. Each day provides new opportunities to reinforce your limits confidently, laying the groundwork for healthy, balanced relationships. You possess the capacity to create an environment that supports your well-being, while also allowing you to compassionately engage with those around you. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Liberation. If you found value in this chapter, please like this video and share your experiences with boundary setting or suggest any topics you would like to explore further. Your journey toward emotional resilience continues, and we're here to support every step of the way. In this journey through Energy Protectors, Why Boundaries Are Key to Emotional Balance, we've explored the essential principles of recognizing emotional drain, setting healthy boundaries, and offering compassion without sacrifice. Each chapter has empowered you to take control of your emotional landscape, equipping you with practical tools to navigate the complexities of relationships while preserving your well-being. We've delved into the importance of recognizing energy vampires, managing emotional triggers, and maintaining boundaries with confidence, all designed to foster not only your growth, but also that of those around you. By embracing the strategies discussed throughout this book, you can create a nurturing environment that supports both yourself and others, promoting lasting emotional health and resilience. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and engage with this transformative content. Your commitment to personal growth is commendable, and I hope you found the insights valuable on your journey. Please take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more enlightening content on self-improvement and emotional well-being. Remember, you hold the power to shape your emotional future, and we're here to support you every step of the way.